Hello, Finley Eagles. Mr. Anderson here, and today we are back in Chapter 13 with another lesson on area. Lesson 5 is all about tiling rectangles to find area. And just like we did yesterday, we're going to use the concept of making an array to use multiplication to find the area. So, you can find the area of a rectangle on a grid by counting the number of unit squares. If a rectangle is not on a grid, you can find its area by tiling it. The dimensions of a rectangle are its length and width. Find the area of the rectangle at the right by tiling it. Tile the rectangle by separating the rectangle into squares. Draw unit squares on a rectangle so that the length of the rectangle is 8 unit squares and the width is 3 unit squares. So we see the length here as 8 units and the width as 3 units. We're going to tile it by breaking it into squares and then counting the squares. So we see here that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 squares. So the area of the rectangle is 24 square units. Tiling the rectangle results in an array. The array has 3 rows and 8 columns. That means, as a result, we can use 3 times 8 to find the tiles inside the array. 3 times 8 equals 24. So what do you notice about the product of 3 times 8 and the total number of unit squares tiled in the rectangle? Well, very simply, they are the same. Because you find the same result by either counting the squares or using simple multiplication to multiply 8 times 3, finding the tiles inside the array, also known as the number of square units inside a shape. Its area. Okay, try it. Find the area of the rectangle at the right by tiling it. Tile the rectangle by separating the rectangles into squares. Draw unit squares on the rectangle so that the length of the rectangle is 6 unit squares and the width is 5 unit squares. Alright, so basically we would make lines in it so that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines this way and 5 lines this way, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now we have 6 by 5, and we're going to count them. Second step, count the total number of unit squares. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Alright. That took a long time, but we know there are 30 unit squares inside this rectangle. So the area of the rectangle is 30 square units. Alright, tiling the rectangle results in an array. The array has 5 rows and 6 columns. That means we can find 5 times 6 to give us the answer, and we know that 5 times 6 is 30. And same thing, what do you notice about the product of 5 and 6 and counting the total number of tiles? Well, they are the same. Okay, so how do arrays help you model the area of rectangles? Well, the number of columns and rows represent the dimensions of the shape. And knowing that means we can simply multiply to find the answer. Number 2, stop and reflect. How could you use the dimensions of a rectangle to find its area without tiling it? Well, we just talked about it. when you know it's an array, you can multiply to find the answer. And we multiply the length by the width. And use your answer from exercise 2 to find the area of a rectangle with the length of 7 units and a width of 4 units. So we don't even have to draw this rectangle. We know that it makes an array, and to find the contents of an array, we simply multiply. And so we're going to multiply 7 times 4, and that's going to give us 28 square units. And we can check our work by making that array. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 4, 6, 7. 7 by 4. And we count those, and we would get 28 squares. That means 7 times 4 is 28 square units. Alright, practice it. Number 4. Well, tile each rectangle to find its area. Draw unit squares on each rectangle. Okay, we're going to tile them. And we know that this ends up giving us an array. So we could later we will be skipping this and just going straight to the multiplication. But for now, we're going to draw it out and then count. 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, so our array is 6 by 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 36. The result of 6 times 6. So the area is 36 square units. Alright, and this one's going to be 5 times 4. So we will have 5 rows and 4 columns, or 5 rows, 4 rows and 5 columns. Okay, and so the area of this one is 5 times 4, and that's 20. Alright, and same thing, we would simply, what you would do in your book is draw 4 lines this way, and then, or 3 lines to make 4 rows, and then draw 7 lines here to split this into 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and it's not perfect, but that gives us the result of 4 times 8, giving us 32 square units. And this one is simply 3 times 4, which gives us 12 square units. Alright, using algebra, find the area of each rectangle without tiling it. Write the multiplication equation. Well, we know that we can simply multiply length times width. So that means we're going to multiply 9 times 4 to get an answer of 36 square units. Alright, and same with this one. We can skip the tiles and just do 7 times 4 to give us 28. 7 times 6 to give us 42 square units. Alright, and last page, apply it. Write a multiplication equation to solve the exercise 10 and 11. Alright, number 10. Lucas built a sandbox for his younger brother. The length of the sandbox was 7 feet and the width was 5 feet. He placed the sandbox in the backyard. How much area of the backyard was taken up by the sandbox? Well, we know we simply multiply the length times the width. So 7 feet by 5 7 feet by 5 feet, and that means 7 times 5 equals 35 square units, and in this case, each unit was a foot, so we have 35 square feet. Alright, number 11. Perry created a one-page greeting card for his mom. The greeting card had a length of 6 inches and a width of 3 inches. What is the area of the greeting card? Well, we multiply the dimensions, 6 times 3, to give us the answer of 18 square. What were the units in this one? Inches. So we have 6 times 3 to give us 18 square inches. Alright. Number 12. Use math tools. In the space at the right, draw and tile a rectangle to represent exercise 11. Sure enough, we will draw 6 squares by 3 squares. Well, I guess we would draw the rectangle first and then tile it. But we would end up with a rectangle that looks just like this. 6 squares, 6 tiles by 3 tiles, showing 18 total tiles. And second to last one, number 13, make sense of problems. A rectangle has a length of 8 meters and a width of 3 meters. Describe 2 different rectangles that have the same area as this rectangle. Alright, so this rectangle would have, let's see, 8 times 3 would give us 24 square meters. Alright, so what are 2 other ways that will give us the same answer? 2 other dimensions that will equal 24 square meters. Well, if we know our 4s, we know we can multiply 6 times 4 to give us 24 square meters. And 24, well, we can divide that by 2, and we could do 12 times 2 to give us 24 square meters. So we're basically just looking for different multiplication factors that will give us the product of 24. Alright, and number 14, write about it. How is the area of the rectangle related to the operation of multiplication? Well, quite simply, the area of a rectangle, well, I guess we find the area of a rectangle by multiplying its length and width. Very simple. Multiplication is at the core of finding the area of a rectangle, because we simply multiply the length times width. Alright, and today's homework is very simple. Page 783 and 784. There are only 7 problems, and all of them are all simple multiplication and drawing some lines. So, if you have any questions, feel free to contact myself or Mrs. Rainey, and good luck and have fun.